Sports People Hawaii, brought to you by Jamba Hawaii, celebrating 20 years of blending aloha. 7-Eleven Hawaii, your neighborhood store. And Vacations Hawaii, Hawaii's favorite connection to Las Vegas.
Aloha, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Sports People Hawaii. I'm Howard Deshevsky, coming to you from the beautiful Kailua Beach here on the windward side of Oahu, and that's where we start this latest edition of the show. We're going to head just up the road to Waimanalo. Did you know that you can get a scholarship to go to college for doing rodeo? We're going to talk to a couple of hot shots that are going to 2 different campuses on the mainland come this fall. Also, he's one of the greatest coaches in high school football here locally, David Tautofi of Kaimuki. He left and he came back for a very special reason. Let's just say he put himself second. Also, the PGA is one of the events that has come back in the professional sporting world. The Masters was missed. They're hopefully going to reschedule it for the fall. And we're going to talk to a local golfer who actually got to tee it up at Augusta. Guy Yamamoto shares some of his great memories of that week back in April. We have these stories and much more coming your way here on this edition of Sports People Hawaii. But first, and as always, we get things started with another tip to help you get fit quick.
Get Fit Quick, brought to you by Jocko Rehabilitation.
Hey everybody, this is Kat from Jocko Rehab. Today we're going to talk about how to keep your back healthy at work, especially if you sit at a desk. The first one is called a chin tuck with a chest stretch. He's going to bring his neck back like a chicken and stretching the front of his chest to open it. Too many people are slouched forward like this at their desk all day, so you need to counter the strain by opening your chest and bringing your neck back to stretch the back of your neck. The second exercise is a standing quad stretch. You stand holding one leg, and don't worry if you can't balance, you can use a stick or hold on to the side of your desk. You want to hold it for 30 seconds to stretch the front of your hip and your quad. The third exercise is a standing lumbar extension stretch. Drop the stick. You're going to bend backwards to open up the back of your spine. When you're sitting, it's the most load you could put on your spine of any activity, including walking, lifting, everything. So sitting is bad, standing is good. Do it every hour. So don't sit 8 hours a day. Do these exercises 4 times throughout your workday, and there's less chance you'll come to our clinic.
I guarantee it.
This segment of Sports People Hawaii is brought to you by Jamba Hawaii, celebrating 20 years of blending aloha.
Welcome back, everybody, to Sports People Hawaii. When you think of Paniolos and cowboys, you naturally think maybe the Big Island in Maui, but there's a big community here that takes part in rodeo, and it's also an opportunity for kids, if you didn't know, to earn themselves a scholarship to college. When you think about high school sports, the ones that can land you a college scholarship, you naturally think about football, baseball, basketball, or volleyball. What normally does not come to mind is this. Tip your hat to Leimaili Tsuneyoshi, one of the top female rodeo stars in the state.
Growing up, it was always like a shocker to people that I did rodeo, because most of my classmates did like soccer and volleyball, and it was unique.
Unique and in many ways unknown. When her classmates suit up for practice on campus, Leimaili hightails it out to Waimanalo. Out of sight, maybe, but hopefully never out of mind.
Well, it definitely is a thing, and I wish it was more noticed by everyone, I guess, because it's a really amazing sport.
And it's a sport that earned her a ticket to UNLV, where she'll be competing on a rodeo scholarship.
I'm really excited. I'm also nervous because I'm leaving home, and I'm actually taking my horse with me, so she'll be there with me.
And who's this?
This is Little.
Little.
Yeah.
Not so little.
No, he's pretty average size, I'd say.
So who's the boss here?
I'd like to say it's me, but most of the time it's her.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it kind of always a battle of wills?
No, she pretty much just does. She knows what to do and she just takes care of me.
While Lei Miley has been competing for years, Alkina Hunt is a relative newcomer to the rodeo game. Although he grew up around horses, his passion wasn't in the saddle, but rather in a kayak or canoe, where he won multiple state championships competing for Punahou.
Ever since I was 8 or 10, I was in a canoe and the water was my thing. You know, every day I was on the water paddling, whether it be Hawaii Kai runs or triangles out in Waikiki. That was my thing.
But after his last Molokai Hoi long-distance race, he decided it was time for a change. And so he traded in his paddle for some cowboy boots and jumped in feet first. And he admits it wasn't easy.
So I hopped on a bull for my first time and was off in less than 2 seconds. And that was a fun landing. Fortunately, it wasn't stepped on. And then I did double mugging, which is a Hawaii-only event, and got the gnarliest rope burn of my life.
Despite the pain, he says it sparked a fire in him. And he points to the similarities paddling in the open ocean to riding a bull. Both of them powerful, both of them unpredictable.
There's definitely variables in both. Like the ocean's always throwing something at you, but a horse has a brain. I can get thrown by anything, but it hurts a lot more right here. And fortunately, I have not come off a horse yet recently, but I've definitely come off a bull a few times, and the ocean hurts a lot less.
But all the hard knocks paid off. After just about 8 months in the saddle full-time, he too is heading off to Cal Poly to compete on the rodeo team there.
I'm really excited, you know, taking the lessons I've learned from paddling and competitive sports to transitioning over. I know the work it takes and I'm willing to do it, and I'm really excited.
Also excited and incredibly proud for both Alkina and Lei Miley, their coach, Rial Poka.
When you're ready, go ahead and stop. They're going to colleges and they're going places and they do really well and they're very successful. Just want to turn your top half because then it'll keep them rounded.
Rial has known both of the upcoming rodeo stars since they were knee-high to a horse. Now she's part of the driving force behind their success.
Okay, we got to load the circle.
She's basically a mother to me. I started riding with her maybe my 8th grade year, and ever since then she took me in as her own, and I got this horse from her, and she even lets me use her horse, and I'm gonna really miss her when I go to college.
She's tough. She wasn't so tough when she first got there, but she's pretty tough now. She's very competitive. She's gracious though, and humble, and very, very sweet, fierce competitor.
Does that work in this sport, to be gracious and
you
sweet?
know, you should in every sport. Is mind your manners, and you know. So Alkina, I knew this kid from when he was a baby. Like he's always been an athletic sponge, you know. He'll get it. He's really coordinated. He's got good structure and good form, so it's not going to take a lot to kind of get him where we need to be, but it is very humbling to him because I tell him everything he doesn't want to hear, you know. Take your circle.
So I've got the coach ever since I was a baby helping me out, and now that I am off paddling, it's all rodeo. So she's kind of pushed me my whole life, but now more than ever.
And this other little girl too, who's going away.
She is also pushing me very hard every day. All of them, yes. From everything, from just working, feeding, riding, all of it. They're right there.
Put another way, if you don't make it to the top of the heap, you need to do your share of shoveling the heap.
Yes. I went from multiple national ranked events and titles to, wow, this is a lot harder than I remembered it being, or this is taking a lot more work than I thought it was going to, but I'm glad.
So very cool, and of course all the best to Lemaili and Alkina as they pursue their dreams on the mainland. And stick around everybody, when we come back, a local high school football coach who had a dream job all lined up in the mainland, but gave it all up for something much more important here at home.
Join the matcha movement this new year at Jamba Hawaii. Energize your start to 2020 with our new Gotcha Matcha lineup. Try the light and refreshing matcha lemon squeeze made with our equally light and refreshing Jamba lemonade. Or capture that pick-me-up feeling with the tropical flavors of the matcha mango smoothie made with real mango. Prefer a spoon? Our new matcha bowl is excellent to kickstart your morning or beat that afternoon slump. Gotcha Matcha, only at Jamba Hawaii, celebrating 20 years of blending aloha.
This segment of Sports People Hawaii is brought to you by 7-Eleven Hawaii, your neighborhood store.
Welcome back, everybody, to Sports People Hawaii. David Tautofi used to be a star player at Kaimuki High School. He went to the mainland for a handful of years, but he came back. It's already been 5 years since he's come back, and the reason for his return to Honolulu was much more than just missing this beautiful place. A product of Kaimuki High School himself, David Tautofi returned to the islands 5 years ago, a chunk of time he's still trying to grasp.
Looking back at the 5 years, it looks like it was a long time, but when you reflect, it seems like it just flew by like that, right? So it's kind of both. It feels like it's a long time, but at the same time, it went by pretty fast.
Part of what Tautofi grapples with today is the fact he never intended to be back home. He had a great career coaching in Las Vegas and was all set to take on a dream job to coach at a private school in Boston, a place that offered both a winning tradition and a big paycheck. But when he came home to visit family for Christmas, he saw something he simply couldn't shake off.
On New Year's Eve, went up to Palolo Valley to visit friends and in the housing, visit friends and my brother and family that was up there. And, you know, it was what I saw that struck me, and it stuck on me forever.
That led to a conversation with the Kaimuki athletics director, who informed him enrollment was down 50%, and the program he once proudly represented as a player had drastically changed.
And so those things were weighing heavy on my heart. Even on the plane ride, I'm thinking to myself, like, I'll just get back to Vegas, I'll get back to my school stuff, I'll be good, you know, it'll be gone. And it just stayed. It stayed, and there was nights, restless nights of like, okay, why am I thinking like this? Why am I feeling this? But long story short, it was a calling. I felt like there was a need and a calling to come back to help, however way that looked, you know, to serve our community, and football just happened to be the vehicle.
We keep going with playing. Put another way, Tautofi placed community before self.
And everybody criticized and everybody made fun, and bullying was at its best. Getting to touch the lives of these boys and to inspire them to be the leaders of tomorrow and ultimately leaders of their families, you know, first and foremost. Thank you for being faithful to our families, Lord. We love you.
Fast forward 5 years, and it's easy to see the efforts are paying off. The team is enjoying success yet again, and this past year they played in the state tournament, and Tautofi was named Coach of the Year. But despite all those successes on the gridiron, he's quick to remind that football was simply the vehicle for change.
What we get to see on the field with these kids is just a product. It's a product of and a result of what we're really trying to implement as far as understanding themselves, understanding how they think, understanding how to control their emotions, understanding how to respond and to react to things, and all these things that go into helping a person develop maturely and prepare them for the next phase in their lives being adults. And so, you know, it's the X's and O's have been more of the secondary of importance, you know, as far as our philosophy goes. But the most important part is the heart.
Developing these young men for adulthood is what Coach takes the greatest pride in, especially in today's environment. In the midst of a pandemic and racial divide that we've all been witnessing, he says the role that he and other coaches play is greater than ever.
The definition of a coach is mentor, yeah, and whether we all like it or not, we all are coaches. We all are mentors. I've kind of taken that responsibility to make sure that, you know, however way I can help to contribute knowledge and educate, you know, our kids and our families about what's going on today. I'm just trying to be as helpful as I can, to be willing. I mean, we all have a season, and so I'm not sure what the season is going to be as long as you're going to be here or I'll be here. But while I'm here, you know, it's going to be a season that we're going to maximize as much as we can.
He says while football is important to these young men, the primary focus needs to be developing good young adults. One level of perspective he's been instilling in them, taking part in weekly food giveaways to families successful who suddenly find themselves in need.
I've had one of the kids ask me, Coach, how come I just saw this kind of car? How come I'll wear that car here? And and that was an opportunity for me to like kind of share with them what possibilities, you know, what could have possibly happened, you know, and you know, it really turned the light on in his mind. So it gives them a different understanding and a perspective and grace.
Taltofi says his job as a coach is getting his players to understand it's their education and their heart that'll provide a successful future.
Today, for us today, we can just only manage what we're doing today, but to invest in our future tomorrow with these kids is what's going to be the biggest difference, hoping that this doesn't repeat itself when they become, when they sit in our seats, you know.
Right on. Great words from a great coach, and more importantly, a great human who's helping to raise some good young men. And stick around, everybody. When Sports People Hawaii returns, a local golfer who had an opportunity to tee it up at the Masters.
Every story has a journey. Carried by the dancing wind, it is a soft explosion, echoing in the hearts of those that love. When open arms take flight, spread your love against the dark of night. Live for hope, long for passion. Live, love, 7 for life.
This segment of Sports People Hawaii is brought to you by Vacations Hawaii, Hawaii's favorite connection to Las Vegas.
Welcome back to Sports People Hawaii. On the heels of the pandemic, we've all been dealing with professional sports for the most part sidelined, but professional golf is back. The Masters was passed over, hopefully to be rescheduled in the fall, but we circled back with one player here locally who had an opportunity to tee it up at the Masters a few years ago.
This is a long time ago,
Yeah.
but it's like it's yesterday, man.
Yeah.
Tiger.
Can you believe it's been nearly a quarter of a century?
No, 24 years ago. It went by really quick, but it feels like it was just last week.
It was 24 years ago that the two were playing in the Pub Links Amateur Championships in Montana. Phil missed the cut and was just about to head off to Las Vegas when Guy asked him if he wouldn't mind caddying for him for the remainder of the tournament. Phil ultimately decided to put Vegas on hold under one condition. If Guy won, he got to go with him to Augusta.
Well, that was a deal. If he won the public links, I was going to be the guy on the bag, so it kind of came hand in hand. The closer we got to the final, it got more exciting for me and him, both of us. And we finally won. That's the first thing I thought was, I'm going to the Masters. So
The two young Hawaii boys heading to the Masters, then walking inside the ropes with the game's greatest players.
Just to see so many of the people you see on TV, people you have idolized, legends, Jack Nicklaus, Arnold Palmer, Sam Snead. And because the Masters always invites back those past champions, you get to see them.
I like the older guys. I like to listen to what Sam Snead was talking about. They're really, really funny guys once you get to kind of know them. They're just a normal person, but they're the legends. That's what the difference is. You find out later that they're actually human, but they're a legend.
And then there were the legends in the making, including another young gun who is already starting to make waves.
Tiger Woods had won the amateur that year at TPC Sawgrass. Little did any of us know. I mean, he was very good, but no one could have imagined, he'd be, what is he, like 12-time major champion and, 4-time Masters champion. So it was a fun week.
And it's a week he gets to relive over and over every year when spring rolls around.
It's always exciting this time of year. I mean, I think as a junior golfer growing up, you always look forward to watching the Masters. And being that it's the only major you play at the same course, and then now that I got to go, and every year those memories come, rushing back, and it's very vivid and a lot of good memories, absolutely.
And among those memories, impressing some of those legends when he holed out for an eagle during his second round.
Friday morning when I made the eagle, Mr. Palmer was playing behind me, so I was kind of a beneficiary of having his gallery witness my eagle go in. It was quite a loud roar when it went in. So I was really happy I hit the green, and as the ball rolled towards the pin, I'm telling myself, is it going? And it drops before I could say in, and the crowd just goes wild, and Phil and I are just like giving each other high fives and jumping up and down, and it was quite special.
Today, Guy is the head professional at the Royal Hawaiian Golf Club, arguably one of the most beautiful courses on earth. But Augusta National, well, that's an entirely different planet.
The golf course is truly beautiful. It's got flowers, but it's really hilly as well. TV makes it look a lot flatter, so the actual walking is not as easy as people think. If you're not used to it, you get, your legs get sore after that first day. But they build the whole year around that week of golf. So, the flowers are in bloom. They have the grass perfectly cut, and the greens, of course, are unbelievably fast.
And now, nearly a quarter of a century later, to sit in front of the television every April and watch the Masters, it's still one of those, I gotta pinch myself kind of moments.
But it feels like we were there last year. Everything's still the same on TV, so you can remember where we were on every hole, every day. So, just brings back really good memories.
Do you still get chicken skin watching?
Oh, absolutely. To actually have accomplished it, it's just beyond beyond your wildest dreams kind of thing. And I couldn't have done it without the help of so many people that have helped my golf game. Starting with Philip, who's caddying for me, and he caddied for me at the Amateur Public Links, and he got me through a good week of golf in Montana, and that's how we were able to get to the Masters. So
we enjoyed it together. Awesome experience, and we still think back to those days. One of these days maybe we'll go back.
Man, Augusta National, so beautiful. It's hard enough to get a ticket as a spectator. Guy got to play there. Good for him. And that does it for this edition of Sports People Hawaii. As always, we want to say mahalo to the folks at Nike Golf for keeping us dry, fit, and cool. And until next time, I'm Howard Deshefsky saying take care of yourselves, be healthy. And we'll see you around the corner on the next Sports People Hawaii.